Good morning.
That's a nice mug you have there, Clintus.
Indeed.
I happen
full
to
of
have
some
the
nice
same
East Coast.
exact mug. Welcome to episode 34 of the Old Fashioned Podcast. Sorry, we were hanging out because I was finishing up the final episode of Love, Death, and Robots season 3, which we'll get into in a few. But Mike, Clintus, how are you?
Better.
Good. Clintus?
Fantastic.
Good. I'm glad. I will see both of you in like 2 weeks, which is really cool.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
When do you get in, Clintus?
I fly in on the 9th,
That's Wednesday?
Thursday.
Okay.
Yep.
So if I don't go see Newfound Glory like I'm trying to that night.
Ooh.
Dude, it's so funny you bring that. Newfound Glory is one of my top bands to see live. They
Hell yeah.
never let down. Never let down. Every
Never.
time I see them live, they're amazing.
Yeah, no, I love Newfound Glory. But they're
My-
playing Disney Springs that Thursday night.
That's incredible. That's a
Nice.
must go. My buddy just saw 9 Inch Nails last weekend.
Mhm.
Last weekend? No. Yes. Recently. And they had some like techno rock opener. I have to get the name for you because it is some of the most hilarious. You look at this and you're like, how does Trent pick these guys to open for them? No lie, one of their songs is called like Doritos Fritos. And the guy enters, he's on stage with a wizard hat. Yeah, opening for 9 Inch
I
Nails.
like him.
Interesting.
A
Interesting.
wizard hat? I'm into it.
And all,
He probably plays
all it is
D&D.
Doritos Fritos with techno in the background.
We would hear so many times back in the day with friends' bands, there was always one guy in the band who played like World of Warcraft. And the band would have like a data plan, some bands had the Verizon like router in their van or stuff like that, and they'd have a collective data plan, or maybe the band had one plan with everybody's phone and they shared, back in the day it was sharing minutes and all that stuff. There was always one guy, and they would always get mad at the one guy because he'd use so much data on the road playing World of Warcraft, whether they were driving. And then the funniest was I forget where we were, but the guitarist of the band was like, dude, we need to wrap the setup. I have to raid at 10 o'clock. So I got to be back at the hotel, like broken down.
Legendary.
Back. And they're like, make your way back to the hotel on your own then. Cause like, we're going to be here. He's like, that's fine. We need to be done and loaded out by 10 o'clock. It was hilarious. Yeah. So that was the good old days.
Oh, that's awesome.
But Clintus, what are you drinking over there this morning?
This is Aztec. Got the Aztec. Yep.
Smooth.
I keep going back and forth between Darkness and Aztec, and then every once in a while I'll do like I got Lupo's Murder Free Roast.
You should be
Waiting
getting
for my
your,
Darkness cans. Waiting for my Nitro Cold Brew to come in.
Should be getting them soon. I believe Abby and Wayne are shipping them out today.
Got the email that it's been shipped, so it's making its way across the country.
There you go. But yeah,
all the
that
way
cold
from
brew.
Long Island,
New York. Yeah, that was a fun launch. It sold out in 61 minutes. The
sold
first
out while we were live, while we were recording.
Yep.
We were like,
then,
you were doing updates as it was going on. You're like, we're at 50%.
And we had 200 more than we had in the previous run, so that was fun. And then they were able to yield a little bit more from that. So
another batch.
I think it was 350 cans or something like that, or 350 packs. So I believe that hasn't sold out, that second part though. So if you hear this, you should be able to grab it. I'm checking the website, so I'm not talking out of my ass.
And then I saw a little sneak peek. I believe it was on Instagram that they canned some special GCX, maybe like a GCX roast, because I saw the cans kind of labeled GCX. So
it's gone.
Cold
I
brew.
lied. Yeah, GCX is getting its own cold brew that you will only be able to get at GCX this year.
Hell yeah.
So people are already excited about that. We had one person message GCX account saying that I wasn't gonna go, but I have to go now to stock up on cold brew. Apparently they live in like somewhere in Florida, like 2 or 3 hours away. So they're literally buying a ticket. I'm almost like, do you want me to comp your ticket just so you can get the coffee? Or... they're buying a ticket so they can go and buy like 5 packs of cold brew. I was like, all right, that works.
Coffee is life. When coffee is life.
It's crazy. So yeah, the GCX one, and then there'll be a new another run on cold brew. Wayne is saying he wants to do it every 4 weeks now that they kind of have the system dialed in. So there should be one in June to look out for. KingsCoastCoffee.com. Make sure you're on that mailing list. That's where everyone gets all their information from. So head over to KingsCoastCoffee.com and get signed up and squared away. And GCX is just around the corner. We were just talking about hanging out at GCX. Mike will be there working with me though. Clintus
So
will be
excited.
the free spirit to hang and network and go buy Clintus a drink.
Gonna
But
float around.
Buy Kevin a drink too.
So
Just bring it
we
to
actually have
him.
drinks on the floor for the first time this year.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
buy Kevin a drink too. Just make sure it's handed to a staff member to give to him, because otherwise you'll get angry event Kevin.
Don't buy me
I
a drink.
plan on roofing Kevin.
I won't.
so
I was gonna say I won't trust where the drink comes from.
I plan on roofing Kevin, so we're all good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get my drinks before Star Wars and Scotch and just get my little buzz on before that panel starts.
They make good Mai Tais.
Yes, that's what we had last time. No, do we have screwdriver? No, screwdrivers was the jam, and then I think I had mine. I don't remember.
You had my
Oh,
ties.
I had a lot of Mai
for
Tais,
the
Kev.
podcast, yeah, it was screwdrivers, but then you had a Mai Tai. You and Pete, I caught you and Pete at the bar outside.
That sounds about right.
Just remember
Really
the
midday
fishbowl
Mai Tai.
margaritas.
And think about it, Clintus. We're on the other side. So if you go to the rotunda and you make a left, we're in that side, which means the pool bar is like just a straight shot back and forth, 10 times closer.
I like the strategy.
I'm excited. I'm gonna relax and have some drinks. And I'm not gonna want to go up to my room because like my in-laws are staying in the room with me so they can watch the kids. So that back office that I'll be hidden away in is where all my booze will be. So
There you go.
should be fun. And then our traditional champagne and shot at the end of the event, and then we start working on 2023. Yay! So GCXevent.com/tickets. A bunch of the creators were announced that will be there that you will be able to meet, whether on the floor, meet and greet, or conducting their own meet and greet. We have a little designated area where people can do impromptu ones if they'd like, just all through the app. So make sure you download the app when it's available. And then, lots of booths. We actually just signed on one booth today of which we weren't going to do, but it was too good to pass up. And they're going to be displaying 3 games for people to try, which I'm excited about. So
Right on.
like I keep saying, we have more vendors. We just don't have that humongous like Bungie booth smack dab in the middle of the floor. So it might look a little bit smaller, but there's actually more to do this year than there's ever been, which is kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it should be a damn good time. We won't jump too much into it because we have another show on Rare Drop for that. But today starts Star Wars Celebration. So the next slew of movies, TV shows, animated, live action, books, comics, everything is coming out the next few days. Most of it will be announced today. By the time you hear this, it will have been announced already, which is exciting because I get really excited about new Star Wars stuff. And they also games. I'm assuming Jedi Fallen Order 2 is going to get announced.
That's a no-brainer, right?
I would assume so, since the title has already leaked. The fact that you'll be able to play more than just Cal Kestis has already leaked. And there's a few other little bit of leaks about it. That I'm hoping to see more from Knights of the Old Republic remake on that.
Every time these drops come out, it makes me want to re-download Battlefront 2.
Yeah,
just mod it.
That game, it's just good for like a party night. That's the big thing.
Exactly. That's the thing that holds me back. It makes me want to jump in, and then I do it. So the first couple times I fell prey to it. I would download it, play it, which is a great game, but it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make room for something else.
You want it to be like. Go ahead, Clintus.
No. Keep going.
I was gonna say, if you want it to be like your game, you have to like grind it, and playing that game solo can be like pulling teeth at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been, kind of the last few weeks, really your guys' fault with the whole MMO stuff. I've been just going through like a rotation. Tarkov is still my main game. I still play mostly Tarkov, but like every few days or like every other week, I'll start dabbling with games and I'll start like, reinstalling this or trying that out, that sort of thing. So like I reinstalled PUBG and I played PUBG for the first time in like 2 years. And actually, my son downloaded it because it's free to play now. So he watched me play. He's like, I want to try this because he likes BRs and stuff. But then I'll try something new. Like I tried Star Citizen. Star Citizen was free I think it's still free actually this week. It's something I've been looking at because it looks beautiful. Like I don't know if you ever watched any Star Citizen gameplay, but it is absolutely incredible. It's just this open world sandbox, and it has a lot of space combat, a lot of flying, which I don't really want to do. I don't really care about it. I'm more of an FPS guy, and so I played that and I liked it, but I need more down that path. Like it's so vast and so big. I need more focus on the FPS side. And so, the running joke is that the game will never actually come out.
Yeah, it's not going to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'll check back in a year and see where the FPS is. Cause I guess they just implemented like a loot system and it's still kind of janky. Like I did a mission, I killed a bunch of marauders or mercenaries. And then I tried to loot and like, I can only carry 2 guns. And yeah, chat's like, oh yeah, it's not like Tarkov. You can't put their guns in your backpack. I'm like, what the shit? Like I kill all these guys. I couldn't loot anything. So I was like, all right, this isn't for me.
I got 2 for you, Clintus. I got 2.
Okay.
Do you, since you like tactical shooters, have you played Insurgency Sandstorm yet?
Yes. Yeah.
Phenomenal. Dude, I have been grinding World War III. Have you seen that one yet?
I've heard it, but I've not seen it. I've not played it. I've heard.
If you're a fan of Battlefield 4, 3, you will like World War III.
Okay.
Granted, right now it's paid beta. I think it's $15 right now.
Okay.
It's supposedly going free to play, although it's unannounced as to when that's occurring. I bought the game back in, I think it originally launched 2018.
Okay.
I bought it. I bounced right off it. I didn't like it. Came back to it. The customization is insane in this game. There is so much you can do. So on top of just breaking your gun apart, like sort of similar to what Battlefield 2042 did, where you can have like a backpack full of gear. You can do that in this game too. You have a backpack full of gear, and mid game you can inspect your weapon and change whatever's. Yep. So on top of your in-game customization, you have your out of game, your lobby customization that you progress on your weapons and you unlock a bunch of stuff, so you could change all that. And then on top of that, they have probably 2 times more customizations in the personal tab of just what you want it to look like. You don't like the stock, say you don't like the Magpul stock, they got a B5 system stock. You could just change everything. It is incredible. Cannot wait for the full launch.
So I know you and I briefly talked about it. I think the week that Kevin wasn't here, but with you hearing you say that, I think you would love Tarkov because Tarkov has the same system.
Same system, yeah.
Same system. The biggest
once I get into it, I'll probably never find my way out.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing with Tarkov is it's not an open world yet. Like that's their goal, is to get to a point where all the maps connect to each other. And obviously, we don't know that system yet. Like, is it going to be like you like a loading screen loading to the next map, or is it literally a seamless walking from map to map? Because the maps, if you look at the map, when you're on one map, you look over here like, oh yeah, that's reserve and that's shoreline. Like you can see the maps from each other,
right?
But they're session based, right? You load into the raid, everyone starts fresh at the same time. And there's a timer that runs on the raid, like it's 40 minutes. You have 40 minutes to do whatever you want and get out, or your character dies, you lose all your shit. And so like a lot of these other games are like these massive maps, but you can stay in for forever. Or you can stay in or you when you load in, you go to your base, kind of like Rust, where it's like you have a base, but you're always on the map. That's one thing Tarkov's a little different. It's like you load into this raid, run the raid, and then get out back to your stash, back to your character. Reload, remed, swap out your gear, whatever you want.
Jump back in.
Yep, jump back in. Exactly.
That's a good game loop.
It is. It really is. And so speaking of which, that's the kind of what I would say we wanted to get into is talking about new games. I'm really excited about this new game called The Cycle Frontier. It's a sci-fi like Tarkov light. Very similar aspect where you load into a map. The map though, it's not like every time you load into a raid like Tarkov, it resets like it's a fresh raid. The map is persistent for like, I think it's like 6 hours or something like that. Like there is a reset on the map. Like you'll actually have to leave the map at some point. It'll tell you to get out. But you load it each time. It's a different server, different raid. And same concept. You do a loadout from a base. You go down. You loot, shoot. There's PvE. There's PvP. And then you have to extract and you have to get out with whatever loot you found. And there's 3 factions and yada yada. Anyway, so they just announced that the pre-release is on June 8th. So like the day before I leave for GCX, so I get one day to play it. And the guy that runs BSG, the company that does Tarkov, they just announced that they're doing a Tarkov TV next week, which is usually when they show off all the new shit for the next
Oh, wow.
patch, which means a wipe is coming, which we've all anticipated in the next couple of weeks. So I'm like, it's like my worst nightmare. I was hoping that like the cycle would come out. I have a couple of weeks to play, get really into it, and then Tarkov does a wipe. I can jump over there, run that for a few weeks. But it seems like
Damn.
it's all going to happen right around GCX. I'm like, ah!
Oh,
That
no.
always happens.
Yes.
Did you
I
see
mean, I'm
Modern
excited for the
Warfare
launch.
2?
What's that?
Modern Warfare 2 is implementing a Tarkov Lite.
Yes. And as much as I'm excited to see it and see what happens, like obviously Battlefield tried that. They did their weird thing and it flopped. No one liked it.
Battlefield flopped as a whole.
They just canceled it. Did you see that?
Canceled what?
Battlefield 2042 just canceled their not a BR, but a BR survival mode.
Oh wow. Just cut it off.
They just announced they're not supporting it. They said we raise our hand, we acknowledge that it didn't land, and we're reallocating resources from that to the core game so that we can focus and make the core game better. You can never fault a development. You don't ever want to fault or discourage like trying something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I looked at that. I'm like, what? They focus so much on it's not a BR, but it kind of was, and it was a little bit of Division survival mixed in, but it's not a BR. They focus so much on that, and it's like that's twice now that it flopped.
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't want that label. They were afraid to like have the label of BR because even when Halo was announced and they were like, some people had mixed feelings about the Halo BR. They're like, oh no, we don't need a Halo BR. Like, don't ruin it. It's the long thing where everyone's like, oh, we should have a Destiny BR, and then half the community like, no, we should not have a Destiny BR. That'd be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think BR has just a stigma to it. A lot of people don't like it.
Well, it does now. It absolutely does. You're right. There was that chase. Everyone copy because it was so successful. Now it's backfiring. Everyone's tired of it. And now all of a sudden, no, it's not a BR. It's not a BR. It's not a BR. We're backpedaling.
I wouldn't say everyone's tired of it as much as it just settled into its place in the gaming world where
everyone's tired of the add-on. Every shooter came with the tacked on BR mode.
But that's why Fortnite
are tired of these resources lacking.
Because they just make varied modes based on that concept. They don't really. I don't even think they concentrate on Save the World anymore. They just make various ways to play the BR system and then the custom stuff. So that's all they focus on. Just like Call of Duty has a Warzone team now that only works on Warzone. So again, as long as you have,
which is smart. Like if you're going to do that, it needs to be separate. It needs to be a standalone, which is what's so irritating about original Modern Warfare is they tied Warzone into Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And they made that and the game connected, which was stupid. It should have never been that way. You should have had the game and Warzone set like they should have been its two different entities altogether. And allowed that to be its own thing and then allowed resources where they belong.
Yeah, and they said the reason why they did that was it was a marketing thing, right? So you had the whole game installed, whether you bought it or not. You're like, oh, I'm just playing the free Warzone. And you're like, okay, how'd you get that gun? Oh, that's a Modern Warfare gun. So you have to you have to get it, unlock it, and use it in Modern Warfare to, whatever, to level it up or to use it. And so it's like, your friends, you're playing BR with your friends are like, oh, we're gonna go play multiplayer, and you're the one left out. You're like, fuck it, I'll buy it. You click the buy button, and it just unlocks the door, and now you can play. There's no download, there's nothing, like it's there. They admitted that, like that's what the play was there. It was a marketing ploy, like they make it all one package. And I think they announced that the Modern Warfare or Warzone 2 will be a standalone launcher player.
It needs to be, and who wants to download a 200 gigabyte title?
Yeah,
like nobody wants that on their hard drive. Nobody wants that. Give me the option. Stupid.
Yeah, I as someone who has recently started playing more BRs, I think the model is what Fortnite set forth. It's free. If you want extra stuff, you're gonna buy a battle pass or you're gonna pay for it individually. And that's the end of it. That's that's the profitable model. As long as there's that entry point you'll always make money in the same manner that Clintus just described. And Fortnite's big enough and COD's big enough where they have enough people playing that as long as that happens every so often with X amount of people, and even me, I used to be the biggest anti-skin, that's a waste of money. And then here I am the other day, I'm playing Fortnite. I'm like level 15. I'm not unlocking anything because I didn't buy the battle pass. Then I'm like, fine.
I'm playing enough now. I'm invested.
And then I hit the
Exactly.
button. And then all of a sudden it was like, bing, 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 bing. Here's all the shit that you earned that we were keeping
Right.
behind the battle pass. And da 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 da
Here's
da
the
da da.
paywall.
Oh, you did the Prowler quest? Here's the first Prowler skin, stuff like that. And I'm like, here I am. I have
It's the
become
mobile
that which I
game
hate.
model, right?
Yep.
You download
Yeah.
the mobile game, it's free, and you're playing the game, and then you're like, you're either time gated or there's a shiny thing, and you're like, it's only 99 cents. And then you do 99 cents a week, and then it starts becoming a day.
You
So I
start
have
justifying it. Well, I spent $20 last month. What's spending $20 this month?
Yeah.
I have 3 mobile games that I play. There is you're gonna laugh. The first one is Frozen Freefall, which is basically Candy Crush, but it's frozen. But I've been playing it for years now that I'm not stopping. And this is like past the time. I'm not like financially or emotionally invested in these games.
Don't you have a Steam Deck, Kevin?
No,
It's not here yet.
I don't get it. October, November.
Yeah, we ordered like 3 for the company, like between different people, and we're all still waiting, so it's fine.
Dang.
I have another one called Call of Antia, I think it's called. Yeah, Call of Antia. And then the other one is Puzzle Breakers. So when they time gate me on one Clintus, I just hop to the next one.
There you go.
I'm like, screw you. I'll just go play a different. And they're all those like Candy Crush style matching games, but Puzzle Breakers and Call of Antia has that like collect these characters. They each have different spells and it's like that. But it's like a battle. And then Frozen Freefall is just like literally Candy Crush. That's it. Those are the only things I play on my phone. And if you time gate me, like, cool, I'm on to the next thing. I can't see myself ever being a mobile gamer. It's just I can't.
Me
do
neither.
it.
So out of curiosity, do you think the free-to-play mobile, for all intents and purposes, because I don't know if everybody knows this, like the free-to-play model is really a kind of an Eastern concept from when it really started, because the East loves to like fast track with money, because their entire concept is I worked my ass off at this job, now I get to spend the money on the things I enjoy. So the gacha model is really just kind of an Eastern model that like the entire thesis of that side of the world's like gaming experiences, and that's why it works so well over there. I'm just wondering if that's going to finally translate over here, and we're just going to kind of see the renaissance of like everything is free to play, but if you want to buy stuff, because that's how we spend our time.
No, because there's too many. The way investment works into game companies and stakeholders and stuff, there's too much risk on a free to play. Fortnite was an accident. It is literally
It was a happy accident for sure.
Yeah, it was literally an accident that happened.
I think the concept that you're describing in the East with the free to play, it's not going to work over here because we have the subscription model. Because we have subscriptions over here, free to play. That concept I think is going to be lower tier to the subscription model side, and the sub model has its own drawbacks, But I don't think free to play is going to take, because stuff like Game Pass is so successful.
And you see them doing pay to play and then putting the extra
best of both
monetization
worlds, man.
in.
Yep.
And why
They're
would they go
making
to
money
free to
both
play
sides.
them? But you are seeing regulation come in, like we talked about, I think on a really old episode, Old Fashioned, where EA got their hands slapped over FIFA and Madden cards, and now they have to preview like this pack could contain or this pack will contain, which is great for someone like me because I don't put money into that stuff, but I have friends who put thousands of dollars every season into those to try and like build the ultimate team, which is funny because like 6 months into the cycle they just start giving away. Like I just got a 93 Tom Brady in Madden the other day because I think the intent was originally to give it away because he was retired, and then when he came back it was like celebrating Tom Brady's legacy in Madden. Here's the 93 for everybody. But it's just funny because I think the intent was like, yeah, he's retiring, so here's this, legacy Tom Brady card. Anyway, I got it, but I also got like 4 other 96 to 91 cards. So, and I've not spent a dime other than buying the game. That's the only thing I've spent money on. And my team went from, I think it was an 84 team, which is low if you're not competitive or paying, and now I have an 89 team. So You could still enjoy it. There's plenty of free ways to have fun, and I think the free model does work in certain instances. To answer your question, Paul, but I don't think it will ever be the dominant way that the industry will market games because you have a game like God of War. The amount of manpower it takes, there's no extraneous monetization options besides maybe some skins and some things like that. That you have to pay for that experience. You have to pay for that game. You have to pay
And
to
the customer of that product has shown time and time again that they are willing to pay and pay a little bit more for that title.
yeah.
I mean, you look at the sales of Elden Ring, you look at the sales of God of War, you look at the sales of
Elden Ring's
Spider-Man.
sales are
The
nuts.
games like that that stand and they're just the story, despite the fact that these publishers have said that single player doesn't sell anymore, it does. It does. They don't want it to sell like it does, but it
EA said
does.
that, and then Jedi Fallen Order was one of the highest selling
Ex
video games of all time, like,
exactly.
literally months after the president of
It's
EA said that.
the customers want that. There is a base for that, and they're willing to spend money, and they're willing to spend a little bit more money. It's just a one and done.
That was literally a bullshit excuse for them to justify adding microtransactions to tons of different games.
Correct.
To say like, "Oh, single player is dead." Meanwhile, if you look, in the top 20, in the top 10, obviously there's Minecraft and Fortnite and all those games, and no one's dethroning them. But
Mm-mm.
in the middle of the pack of that top tier, mostly single player games.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
I think the model, I think that Eastern model, the free to play, it'll have its niche. It'll be the BRs and the multiplayer where low barrier of entry, you can just play the
Mhm.
game. I mean, literally just, I mean, we just call it the Fortnite model at this point. Like, get in the game, play it. It's fun to either play around for a couple of hours, try it out, no big deal. But if you get hooked on it and they continue to update it, with the battle pass. I mean, they were the first ones to do like that battle pass, right? The season pass model, and now virtually every game that has some kind of live, breathing platform, Destiny, like anything that has like this, like a MMO esque style of game where you can log in and play other people, and it's seasons. They've created that seasonal model. Call of Duty did it now. PUBG, even like the original, the OG BR that was not free to play now is free to play and has a battle pass and loot boxes and skins and all that stuff. Like they've grabbed it all. I think that model, the cycle, the game I was just talking about a second ago,
Yeah.
the cycle is free to play and has a battle pass and has a shop to buy skins. Like that's the model they're going to go with because it's this multiplayer, MMO style kind of game.
And then you have games like Avengers where you bought the base game and then they say, we're not going to charge you for any update or any DLC, but they charge you for skins and for celebrations and things like
Mhm.
that. I'm okay with that model too, because it's like I invested in the game. And if I want to keep playing it, then I'll keep investing in the game. That's how I see a lot of these models is I'm investing in the game because I want it to keep going and succeed because I'm enjoying my time in it. And if I stop playing it, I'll stop investing in it.
That's what we did with our MMOs, man. I mean, we play
Yeah,
sub
same thing.
model MMOs. Same deal.
Yeah. And now
Same deal.
MMOs have gone to they all have a free to play entry point. Some
Mhm.
have it where it's like baseline, you can get
Yeah.
to level 20 and then they want you to pay. Some have it's like, yeah, you can play the whole like vanilla version of the game and then you have to start paying. Lord of the Rings Online last month or 2 months ago were just made every expansion except for I think the last 2 or 3 free. So you can
Oh, wow.
literally level up to like level 90 now at no cost. And they give away what's called Lotro points, which is their store currency as you quest. So you're actually getting in-game currency on top of all of that to buy stuff
You're
in the store and whatnot.
you're passively gaining premium currency in the free to play model.
Yep.
Wow. That's
I think
interesting.
you get more if you're subbed.
Can you buy a sub with the in-game currency?
I believe you can, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so time played can be reinvested into your sub.
It's just like WoW tokens
Wow. Yeah.
where people I don't know if you know how that works, Clintus, but they sell a token. So someone can buy a token off the store
Mhm.
and the token is a 1-month sub. They can put it on the auction house. This was to get rid of gold farmers
Okay.
who were selling gold. They put it on the auction house. Somebody buys it for whatever the price is on the auction house, which varies server to server, to be honest, because each server is its own economy. And then that person that bought it gets a month, can cash it in for a month of subscription time.
Okay.
So someone else benefited because they got 15,000 gold, and the other person benefited because they paid 15,000 gold, and they don't have to pay for their subscription that month.
Gotcha.
I think that's genius.
Yeah.
You're catering
Win-win.
to both sides of your player base on that. I also think too, if you look at trends, like remember when Minecraft rose to power, and then everyone was like, "This is it. Games are going to be like this. Like this is going to be this." Red Roblox and Trove and all these games came out like 4 years later, and it was too late. And then it was Destiny. Every game's going to be a looter shooter, like Borderlands and Destiny are going to rule everything. And I mean, the three of us were bought into that mindset at one point. Let's be honest. And all of a sudden, the looter shooters came out, and we were like, "Well, this is not what. No, this is not the future." And then it was BRs.
It's chasing the trend, constantly chasing the trend.
And the trend, it has a crest. It peaks and it comes back down. That doesn't mean the game is no longer successful. And that's where people are like, dead game. And I'm like, no, they're not dead games. There's still millions and hundreds of thousands of people playing these games.
Exactly.
And they're wildly successful. Destiny 2 is still a wildly successful game. I don't play it anymore. Mike doesn't play it anymore. But that doesn't mean it's not popular and people are not playing it. Fortnite, same thing. Doesn't mean it's not popular. WoW, same thing. Because even before Minecraft, it was MMOs.
Correct.
And every game was going to be an MMO. Every IP needed to be an MMO. Warhammer, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, they all needed to be MMOs. And then all of a sudden, but here we are, Low Chargers celebrated 15 years. And their average player base, I think, is anywhere from 300 to 600,000 players at any given time. And you say that number to people and they go, that's not a lot. I'm like, idiot. I'm like, go
But are
check
you
how many
comparing
people
it
are
to
playing.
Destiny?
Yeah, go check how many people are playing New World right now if you don't think that's a lot.
Oh God.
Well, and okay, that's a good point, because that's something we were just talking about this the other day. Like someone asked about New World and if I had gone back and tried the new, the new dungeon and everything they added recently, and I was like, nah, I ran its course. I played the shit. I mean, I played it longer than most. I mean, I played it pretty much till the wipe of Tarkov in December. So I played it from launch through December, and then I think since New Year's I had 2 streams in like 15 hours or something, and that's it. That's all I played this year, right? And someone goes, yeah, that game kind of died fast. And I said, it didn't really die fast. I said the hype wore off because the big MMO guys, it wasn't the MMO they were looking for. Like they thought this was the next big MMO from Amazon and this and that. First of all, it was a very different MMO, right? And that was the number one right off the rip. Like this is not like a normal MMO. For someone like me who'd never really played MMOs, I loved it. There was only 3 abilities. There wasn't like a whole fucking menu on the sidebar and at the bottom, like 15 different keys to hit. There was 3 abilities. You could easily swap between classes by just switching your weapon out. And honestly, the most satisfying piece of that was the gathering. Like fucking hitting trees and rocks was so satisfying in that game. Like still to this day, it has the best like the sound effects and the
audio in that game's incredible.
Yeah, the audio was amazing. But the PvP flopped. So you had a lot of guys that went into that game going, I want a PvP, and the wars were so laggy and so buggy. You were losing wars because of lag, which then you would lose your territory and be fucked for, and then you had the ones that was like, yeah. Well, as soon as you went to war and you this big battle and you won, the next day you're at war again. Like someone declared war again, and you're like, well, shit. And then it was just, and so
they built the game around PvP too. So that is what the problem was the end game was that you were going to PvP and fight these wars. So once that was broken, you lose MMO players. They go back to what they were doing before. Because I remember playing, and like there was a point where our buddy Rob, he'll get interested in a game and then like he'll talk about it like it's the damn gospel. And I remember I had lost interest in New World at that point because I was like, there's no PvE. If you do PvE only, it is the most repetitive, it felt like a mobile game. That's what it felt like. I'm here doing chores, and that's not how I want to feel in my free time because I do chores all day. So I remember him saying like, well, there's potential here. And I was like, no, because you know what it is to me? It's just ESO, except it sucks. That was my philosophy. Like
it looked like a worse ESO. Like it looked like if you're gonna play this game, you are better off playing ESO because
the way you just described it
better.
With the limited abilities and stuff, ESO. The way you go around, ESO has the best crafting of any MMO out there. No one has a better crafting system. It is just the best. And it's the only game that I am heavily invested in crafting too. Like when I play that game, I do all my crafting dailies. It's the only one. WoW, I'm like, I get to like level 30. I'm like, well, I should probably go back and pick some more of those herbs in that area that well, I'm too far gone. I'll go back when I'm 60, and then I never go back. So it's that was the problem with New World. They built the game around something, and then they were like, oh, well, we're going to do PvE stuff. And I'm like, well, all of your systems are built to support PvP. So that means you're going
Yeah.
to shoehorn PvE endgame into this because it's
Yeah.
not working out the way you wanted, which means it's going to suck. So,
I mean,
Right.
First of all, it was an Amazon game, which, I mean,
Their track record. Yeah.
their track record is horrendous to the point where they just, it's an Amazon game. So that's the first thing. Second, there was no identity to the game. They continually changed what the game was going to focus on. And MMO PvP, I understand it's popular, and I don't discredit that, but it is a niche population within the MMO community that is heavily, heavily invested into PvP. And they're creating an entire game around this percentage of players that is not the majority of players in the MMO community. So, all right, and they started a shift to try to get more people in. And I don't know if you want to call it like a cultural divide, or I don't know how the best way to describe it, but as soon as Amazon announced this game, simultaneously Amazon being the owner of Twitch, as soon as it was a PvP title, I'm out. I want fuck all to do with streamer ran servers PvP related. No fucking, how is that fun? You have monster streamers with monster fortresses, and there's no competition for that. You're just, why would I want to join a server and subject myself to that gameplay? It's just, there's no way. And then Amazon's going to monetize it through Twitch. It's just, to me, it was a big clusterfuck of conflict of interest that I was like, I'm out.
did you hear? And I don't know if this is true, but I had heard that the intent of the game wasn't to be an MMO originally; it was to be a survival game,
I could see that.
No,
like
really?
Icarus and like
So
can
Big
see
Boy
that.
Valheim.
I guess. I remember someone I know played it at like E3 when it was first in like pre-alpha, and they said it was very survival based. And then I had read another thing somewhere along the way that said like, yeah, the original intent was to make a multiplayer survival game, not an MMO, and somehow through development it turned into like a survival MMO. So I don't know if that's true, but Clintus, you'd probably be the best one to like even say if you feel like that might have been the intent just from playing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it didn't really. I mean, like I said, the gathering part was fantastic. That like the gathering rocks and the ores.
Isn't that interesting? That's the best part of it.
Yeah. I mean, that was my favorite. Like the skills. I'm a sucker for skills. New World made me realize what I love about certain video games, and it's that player progression, seeing all the circles get filled and the ding of leveling up. And then when you level up, you unlock something else, right? You either unlock something or you get better at something. Like I realized that's what I love about Tarkov, because it has all the little skills that you can, you're not even mid-maxing because you just play the game and you're leveling up as you progress. Icarus has that. That's what I love about Icarus specifically. Like I know a lot of people don't like Icarus because it's a session base. It's not open world where you build a base and you live in it forever. You go down, you build your base just to finish the mission, and then when you reset the mission, but you're gathering XP to gather skills. And yeah, so I guess, I mean, I can see maybe the framework there in New World. Then they obviously stopped at some point because you do make meals. There's gathering the materials, the herbs and the meats and everything to make these meals, and then you eat the meals, and that gives you like a stat boost, right? You eat this, chicken pot pie gives you a +7 to your constitution and intelligence or something like that. So for going to war, everyone's like, drink these potions, eat these meats, and then you're ready for war because you got these boosted stats and stuff. So I could see that. Like the core's there, and then they like switched midway maybe. But we talk about New World and the dying, and I always like to pull up Steam stats, Steam charts, just to see who's like what the player base is, and it still hovers around 20K players. Which when you look at other games around that size, like No Man's Sky is around 20, 25, right? Depending on, like, they know they just announced a big update, so I don't know what it is normally, but like in the last 24 hours, it's like 21,000, right?
No Man's Sky also has console though, so does Rocket League.
True. And that's the thing. I always bring up Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy usually sits right around New World, or New World. And everyone's like, well, there's also consoles. I'm like, I understand that, but there's still PC players.
Yeah, Final
That's also
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy only Steam downloaded players.
Yeah,
If you download the native launcher, it's not going to register
Separate.
those players.
correct. So yeah, you have 2 clients on PC,
Yep.
one of which is not counted on Steam, plus PlayStation.
Well, and New World also does too. They have their Amazon launcher, right? And I don't know how many people actually use that thing, but there is that thing. I know. I always like to use it as a barometer. Like, oh yeah, well it's the same as this. Valheim's got 18,000 players. Black Desert Online, 16,000 players. Like
Valheim's going to be low because of V Rising right now, though.
Yep.
Which I heard was amazing.
If you're into like survival, I was going to ask Clintus what he thinks of it.
I heard it was really good.
The game mechanics and the game itself sounds amazing. I cannot get over the isometric.
Oh, we did talk about this last week.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's not my jam. Like New World was weird for me. That third person, you could zoom in or you could zoom out. Like I always want to be zoomed in because I'm like, oh, my characters are like badass, but then I couldn't see anything, so I always had to zoom out. So I'm always like, way up here, fucking looking down. I'm like, it breaks the immersion for me. Well, it's like MMO.
Did you jump back into the Division?
I haven't played Division in a long time.
Oh my god, dude!
What's new?
It is way more complex than I remember it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they did a lot. They changed a lot since I played.
They've got a new game they're working on right now. I'm sure it's been announced, right? The name? You guys know what I'm talking about?
I jumped back into Division 2, man, and I am
Heartland.
loving it.
No. I think it's an arena-esque shooter.
Oh, I thought you meant a new Division game because there is Division Heartland. That's going to be the free-to-play Division.
Ubisoft. Maybe it's not Division then. Maybe it's just Ubisoft.
Ubisoft's doing that like Ubisoft multiverse shooter that everyone shit on when they revealed it.
Multiverses is great though if you want to talk about that because
Multiverses is getting seriously good reviews from people that have got early access.
I googled it, so I know it's. I don't know if I was like not allowed to say it. X Defiant. I'm talking about X Defiant.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one with all the
Tom
Ubisoft?
Clancy's X Defiant?
Yeah, that's the one that everyone shit on.
Is it okay?
Yeah, because it's like Ghost Recon. Everyone was mad that there's Splinter Cell people in it. And Splinter Cell game.
Kev, you remember being back in Division 1? You try to get like a piece, like a set piece, right? Or like a gear piece, right? And it was difficult. You're running the same fucking shit over and over. Man, they introduced a new game mode called Countdown. You have a set time frame to hit these landmarks and do these objectives. I didn't know this, but they actually have a targeted loot system now. So before you boot up the game mode or your session, you can hit a button. It's H, and it says targeted loot, and it brings up a menu. And in that menu, you can say, yeah, I want to target shotguns. I want to target ARs. I want to target this gear set, Heartbreaker gear set. You click it, and then you go into matchmaking, and it rains loot on you like you would not believe. And it's all that gear set, or it's all shotguns. For the a large majority of it. So it makes grinding your sets that much more efficient. It's incredible. So now when we go into PvP, you're not as far behind as you originally once were, right? It makes catch up a lot easier.
I was gonna say that makes sense from a catch up mechanic status, and also there's just so many stats that you have to worry about in Division that you need something like that because they
still have the recalibration station. You still need to build up your recal library. You still need to build up your stats library so that you can mix and match and re-optimize, and then they added different leveling systems now, so you have proficiency levels and efficiency levels. It's awesome. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Recalibration was great when it came. My problem was always is that these items had such low drop rates to begin with, and then you had to hope that the item would drop with the stats that you needed it on, and if you were going to recalibrate, you could only do the one stat, so it was like it had to at least have 3 of the 4, whatever you were aiming for, depending on the gear piece.
Not anymore.
That was always my gripe. It was just so damn hard to build a set. But now, I know they're trying to stretch it out for the min-maxing.
I know. But now, say your knee pads are garbage, right? Okay, so you just pick the set that you want. You set it for that set. You run it till you get your knee pads. Okay, cool. Then you reset your targeted loot to just knee pads in general, right? It rains knee pads on you, and you're like, oh, okay.
Fix that,
This has
fix
got my
that. Yeah.
maxed out stat. I'm going to pull
Yep.
that stat from that one. I'm going to pull that stat from that one, and you store it in your library. Meanwhile, all the leftover stuff that you have, right? You can dump that into a separate system for your proficiency, and you gain proficiency levels in gears, which make that gear more efficient for you. So you do more damage. It has more armor as you become proficient because you can level it up on top of already everything else. It's incredible. The multipliers
Interesting.
are awesome.
Damn it. All right. That stuff sounds amazing and exactly what I love in
You're
video games.
downloading it now, aren't you?
Well, so my thing is,
You are, aren't you?
I've always said this. It's third person, right? And
Yep.
I prefer first person. That's my camera shot of choice. Even per games that go first person, third person, I try to play in first. And I'm like, as long as it's like Icarus, you can go first person or third person, and first person feels good. Like I feel like using a bow and arrow, I'm using a rifle. Like it feels good to be in first person. Third person actually kind of feels wonky sometimes. Like GTA by nature is third person, but you can go first person. It just never felt good. So like the Division, and I understand too, like Warframe, you can't play that game in first person. Like it just doesn't work. Like the mechanics of the duck and diving and rolling and taking cover, the duck and cover system has to be third person. Warframe with the flying through the freaking, the map, it wouldn't work in first person. You'd fucking throw up. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You'd
I
throw
almost
up.
puked when it didn't do that. So.
So yeah, that sounds amazing, and I definitely should maybe like look into it just to see because I love the dials and the knobs and turning.
They did. There is so much, and I like games that don't feel overwhelming, but almost archaic in the sense where they don't hold your hand. I like that there's complexity, and I have to figure the complexity out, and the game rewards you for figuring it out by boosting your power. That feels good to me, right? I
Absolutely.
learned something, and I'm applying my knowledge. It feels good. On top of that, they added stuff like the summit, so you climb floors, so you're defeating enemies. You go for 1 floor, 2 floor, 3 floor. You're constantly climbing. Another game mode. They implemented 4v4 PvP. The dark zone is still there, so you're running in the dark zone. Are they going to attack me? Or are they not? Am I going rogue? That's still there. They have raids. They did a lot to the game. A lot.
Right on.
It's
I just watched
much better
a
stuff.
clip of me and Rob extracting from Dark Zone in Division 1, like really early on.
Dude, I
And,
remember
it's us and it's 2 other groups, and we're all like looking at each other by the helicopter, like, don't do it. Let's all just get in the helicopter. Let's
how
play this
good
cool.
was that, man?
It was the best. It was
It
the
was
best.
so
'Cause
good.
You're
I
sweating
remember-
at that point because it's like one shot and this is a disaster. Let's all just get in the helicopter and like everyone.
If
It was
anyone
like, what's the
accidentally
movie?
pulls the trigger, everything.
What was
Dude, it
that?
was so-
True Romance, Mike. Keep it cool, honey bun. Keep it cool. Like,
It was. Were you playing with us when the beta came out for the Division?
oh,
We were
hell
in
yeah.
so we were in the dark zone. It was our group of 4, and we were running through in the beta, and we happened to meet up with Ladman and Ladman's group of 4. So it was half the server that we all mutually agreed that we were going to team up, and we just mowed over everybody in the server. It was incredible.
Remember Kaze? Me and Kaze used to get groups together, and we would call it vagrant hunting, and we'd go find solo players in the dark zone. And just...
I love
it was
survival.
so mean.
Survival was my favorite.
Survival
Survival
needed
was so good.
more. That was my only
Yeah,
issue with survival.
It was good though.
It felt unfinished, but I loved it. But
I was hoping
it was
they'd
good.
make a Division 2 version, and they never did. They never made one.
We had speculated about it, like do a hurricane or something like that to because it was supposed to be in summer. I think that was the difference.
DC,
but,
yeah.
Florida and DC, yes.
I still think they should do a division in Florida and like utilize the theme parks as settings.
They 1000% should. I wish
Think
Division
of the
2
themed
wasn't.
gangs.
Yeah, I wish
Licensing
Division 2
issues right
wasn't.
there.
Yeah, you could
A
do it like
standalone.
what's the moose from the vacation movies?
Oh, there you
Wally
go.
World.
Wally World.
There you go.
Speaking of dystopian futures, what do you guys think of Love, Death, and Robots, season volume 3?
I really like this
face.
season.
Oh, face.
Quick rundown of the episodes. I'm taking this from Collider. They did a ranking. I completely
quick.
disagree with their ranking.
What was your favorite episode, real quick?
It is a toss-up between Jabaro and Night of the Mini Dead.
Clintus?
Jabara was definitely the most like aesthetically, like it was chaos crazy, but I love that aesthetic. But man, I like the military one. I like the one with the alien that like in the cave.
Okay.
Oh, that one, dude.
we talk about
Night
that
of the
one for a
Mini Dead
second?
was my favorite.
Yeah, that was a Kill Team Kill. Is that what it was? No. That was the grizzly
That was
bear
the
one.
bear.
In vaulted halls and tombs.
That's it. Yeah, in vaulted halls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clintus and Mike, follow me here. They go down in the cave, right? They get through it, right? They end up in that weird throne room
Tomb.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me that wasn't inspired by Crota's End.
Oh yeah, dude, totally. It looked like Destiny. It looked like a Destiny.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally looks like Crota's End.
Ooh.
You got the guys like doing like the bow or whatever, like the statues and shit, and it was a giant ass like stairs, like when they were like, like
Yeah, totally Crota's End. And the way they frame the shots with the lights coming out, Crota's End, 100%. Also, when I watched the end of that episode, when the Cthulhu thing is like, let me, what did it say? Release me?
Release me.
Yeah.
Giving them
Release
glimpses
me?
into hell.
I thought the best ending to that would have been framing it as that's how COVID started. Is have her go out and then spread the virus.
Yeah, I like that. I like the realistic like animation aesthetic. It's something that when I was in college, you guys remember the Final Fantasy movie that came out? That was like my mecca when I was in college, because that's what I went to college for, was like 3D animation and stuff. So I like that style. Every season we've had a couple of those. Last season was the one with Michael B. Jordan. That episode, and then the first season it was the one where the guy was in space and he meets his Greta, the blonde, and then you find out that it's like hell or something, like
alien from a
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
they had the realistic one too, with speaking of Event Horizon, the Swarm episode. That was
Swarm was a good one too. Yeah,
that was good.
My thing with this, and I think we talked about this last week, Kevin, about I watched that movie Zone 414 on Netflix.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I almost feel like it's a sci-fi thing, and when people write sci-fi, it's like the story and the action, everything just kind of goes. There's no like peaks and valleys for the most part. It's just like this constant go, and then it just ends. And I feel like a lot of these, I know they're shorts. I get that they're shorts, but I feel like it's just like go, and then it's over. And you're like, wait, what just happened? Right? Like, and you're left with so many questions. You're like, wait, how did that happen? Why is that way? Why did this happen? What, even like the last episode, Jabaro, right? Like the way that one ends, you're like, what just happened? Like, like that's my only. I love sci-fi. I love sci-fi. It's my favorite genre. It's my favorite aesthetic, specifically cyberpunk. I love cyberpunk specifically, but like, I just feel like that's like a sci-fi thing where it's like this constant go, and then that's it. Have a nice day.
Jabara was interesting. Like you said, the animation, the aesthetic was off the charts amazing. Like that was art to me, like cinema. That wasn't even like just a regular episode. But it was interesting because it had a message, and it was definitely like that, disturbing and destroying Mother Nature and Mother Nature retaliating type of message.
Destroying something beautiful for greed.
Yeah, and there wasn't a word spoken in the episode, and I love if you can pull that off and you can do it right and you can get us talking about it in this manner, like you completely killed it. So
it's incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you picked up on that, but the same guy that did Jabaro is the one that did The Witness.
Which one was The Witness?
Oh, I love. Oh, yeah.
Volume 1, where the girl's like looks in the window and she sees the guy kill a girl, and he chases her through the story, and then at the end it flips.
Yeah,
same animation where it's like it's real, but they put like a filter, almost like I put a filter on it. It's a live action with a filter. Love that. I love that style. Like it was definitely, that's one of my favorite ones.
And there was barely any talking in that episode too. If I remember.
Yeah, there was no talking. Yeah. Like the guy's like, wait, that's about it, right? And the whole time. Yeah.
It's that's someone that knows how to use sound effectively to create a mood and a place. And yeah, I appreciate that. The very Pulse of the Machine, that was like the psychedelic astronaut one.
Yeah.
Probably my least favorite. And they also did that other psychedelic one from, I think it was season 2, where they're out in the desert with the salesman, and the one guy gets naked and gets eaten by the
whale.
Shark. Yeah. So that was probably my least favorite one.
That was season 1. Fish Night. It was called Fish Night.
Yep. And then Bad Traveling in this one, which the giant crab in the ship.
I love that episode, man.
That was a wild episode.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
the way they set it up, where they said it's like it's an alien planet. This is not Earth,
Right.
and this is like their norm. This is how they, this is their history, if you will.
Right.
I noticed the show loves to have beasts communicate through like cadavers.
That was, dude, as soon as he started talking with like the dead body and he was just like jiggling its head to make the sounds, I was like, what the fuck? Did you catch when the captain said at the end, like every single one of his crew, they drew the X, so they all wanted to sacrifice the village, the innocent village, to save themselves.
Yep.
And so I assume his plan the entire time was to one by one just be like, nope, you're sacrificed, you're sacrificed, you're
Yeah,
sacrificed.
he wasn't the villain, even though he was framed to be the villain.
He was
That
framed as
kind
the
of
villain.
fun.
It was so good, man.
Yeah.
So good.
It was a mental trip through mob mentality.
Yeah, but how he like slowly picked them all apart until at the end they all turned on him anyways, and he was still the victor.
Swarm did the cadaver thing too at the end.
That was creepy with the whatever was jabbed into her head.
That was another commentary that was like a social commentary, because it was talking, because the plan was like, we're gonna use these insects, these aliens, to make a worker race, and they're like, no, fuck you, we're gonna use you to make a worker race. How's that feel?
Right.
So yeah, it was definitely that vibe. I loved that the 3 robots came back.
Right off the rip. That was the first episode. Right off the rip.
The jab at Elon.
Yes. It was just so funny, and the way they just, I don't know.
What were you expecting, Elon Musk?
When they realized at the end, they're like, "This is the birth of our civilization," which is where all the humans died.
They made robots, and the robots killed them back, or something like he says a line like something like that.
Ah, yes.
I love.
They kept switching hats everywhere they went. That was my other favorite part.
Dude, as soon as he entered the oil rig and he started talking about the tech millionaires, and they're like, wait, they're trying to make sense of what the fuck a tech millionaire was.
I
He goes, so useless. They were useless.
What's the difference between a tech millionaire and a human? And they were like, you have like you always wear a hoodie, and like they just described it perfectly.
Crippling social anxiety.
Yes. Kill Team Kill was good. That was the one with the honey badger.
That was just entertaining.
That I felt like that was the same animation as the Dracula one.
I think you're right.
Yeah. That one felt to me like Predator.
Yes. Yeah.
Also the ending where the guy died and said, "Tell my wife I fucked her sister."
I fucked your sister.
Actually, Team Kill, Kill Team Kill is the same director as last season volume 2, the Pop Squad. And that was the one where the detective had to like kill kids. Like,
oh, that one was crazy.
Different animation
same
style.
Guy?
Same. It's Jennifer Nelson.
I'm sorry, same person.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, it's the same director, but totally different animation style. That one was more
that's Nolan North in that episode too, the detective.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was fun. It felt like Predator, but with like this crazy, I don't want to say sci-fi twist, because Predator.
It was just pure entertainment. Yeah.
It was just fun. It was a fun one, and it was ridiculous and over the top. Mason's Rats was genius.
I love that. It was a great one.
It was just it's such a simple concept of evolution, and how that at some point that could happen, and
the rat looks at him and just nods like, my man.
Well, no, the one on the stretcher goes and gives him a thumbs up.
The best is when he gets that final, like, the final killing machine, and it just fucking is brutal and savage. He throws it in the fucking air, like, the guy's just like, the cigarette falls out of his mouth. He's like, what the fuck?
Good lord.
And then it throws the body and the head on the pile. I was like, this is so over the top.
So good. I love this. I love this show.
He's like, yeah, I need a check canceled, or whatever it was. He was Irish or Scottish or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I need a check canceled. That was so good. And then one of me and Mike's favorite, Night of the Mini Dead, was so perfect.
That is my favorite, and I love the description: a night of unholy sex in a cemetery.
That was so silly.
All you see is, and then it goes green, and then zombies.
He tried to face fuck the statue. And that's what caused the zombie apocalypse.
You know, that sounds pretty on brand to the end of the world. Somebody opens up the black sarcophagus in Egypt, and somebody decides to do something.
I mean,
Tries
but
to
that's
fuck
the
a
thing
mummy.
is we're finding all these relics. We're finding all these relics in sarcophagi. I don't know what the plural is there. And then they found that cave in China that was like underground, and
There's a
it's
forest.
tropical forest. So we find all this stuff, but now it's like we're at the point where it's like, you know what? Screw it. Just open the next one. Like maybe it'll make things better. Just because that last one didn't do us any favors. But we'll see. But yeah, overall, I like this season a lot better than season 2. It was a lot of it was more akin to stuff we saw in season 1. I hope they keep going with this because I love the quick.
I do too. I am still disappointed that they're sticking with the shorter format. Volume 1, significant longer list of episodes.
18 episodes.
Volume 2 and 3 are shorter.
It's like VOG, Mike, where that's the best raid because they had the most time to work on it.
Yeah.
What I would like to see too is like maybe, and again, not for all of them, but maybe some of them, fleshing it out into like a movie or something to longer content, because you look at a show like Star Wars Visions, where they're talking about making longer form content with some of them. The first episode of Star Wars Visions was a book. I read the book. And the episode is the first 2 chapters. So some of them, I would love to learn more about these little universes and stuff that they've created and these ideas. But
they could spin-offs would be great, longer form based off of the episode
in that universe, like that animation style in that universe. Obviously, almost all of these most of these, the good ones at least, they're all dead or one survivor. Like going back to like even like season 2 of volume 2, the one Snow in the Desert, where the guy's like immortal, the guy with like albino frost hair, he's like a immortal. And then these bounty hunters try to kill him, and this girl like intervenes and saves him, and we find out that she's like a cyborg, and so she also is immortal. And so then they fall in love. Like that'd be super dope, specifically with those because they are immortal. But even going back to like an origin story, I think a lot of these universes could be fleshed out into a series or even a movie. Really,
one of the ones I thought would make a good long form, or maybe not long form, but more fleshed out, was the werewolf military one.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That one caught me, and I was like, man, they could like do more with this, because it was just interesting that there was this other almost secret world existing that was also at war, killing their own kind for our world. I don't know,
territory.
It was bizarre. Yeah, it was interesting, and I would like to learn more. So, we probably won't see a season 4 for, I would say, at least a year and a half minimum.
Probably,
so
unfortunately, but
we'll put this one to bed on this show. But I overall this season, I say like a 7 or 8 out of 10. I really
it was great.
Highly recommend.
So good.
And it's like Twilight Zone or Black Mirror or something. If you want to jump into the show, just like pick a season. It doesn't matter where you start. You can just try it all out. It's very gory though, so don't watch with your kids around or anything like that.
There's only one, and they're not directly connected, so there's no. But the 3 robots is literally the only like sequel, like same characters.
You could watch them separate, and it wouldn't matter.
Exactly, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know the difference. Yeah,
not at all.
Real quick, speaking of shows and series, I started Stranger Things. I finished season 1 last night.
What'd you think?
Fuck amazing. The first episode hooked me like, right away. That's when you know it's good. Like the first episode, it's like, okay, it starts off with a freaking doctor running through some creepy hall and something grabs him from the fucking, right away that happens. And then the girl's got powers. And then like, again, the 80s thing was like, whatever. Once the show got into it and you hear the music and like you see the little things, you're like, okay, cool. We're in that 80s vibe and whatever. And even like the dialogue, right? Some of the words they say or the things they say, you're like, oh yeah, okay. It puts you into that world. And I dug that. But yeah, no, right away it got me. I watched 3 episodes one night, and then I binge watched the last 6 or 5 last night. So I'm gonna start season 2 tonight. The new season drops tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Friday when this show ups. Now, does that show drop the whole season at once?
Yeah,
it's one of those. Okay, all right.
The most I get out of Stranger Things anymore is I play the Demogorgon in Dead by Daylight.
I like Stranger Things. I don't think it ever got bad. I understand why people dropped off, but I like it. They go to a mall in season 3, Clintus, and that's the nostalgia bomb really smacks you in those episodes because you're like, it's an 80s mall. Oh my god.
Mall rats. Yeah, my
like,
kids, my son loves the show. In fact, he came downstairs and they both watched the first 3 episodes with me, and then I went to bed and he went upstairs and finished the whole of season 1 that same night. And then I'm in here streaming yesterday and I'm hearing stuff, I'm hearing the music, and I open my door and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm watching season 2. I'm like, he got right back hooked back onto it.
Jeez.
couldn't even wait for you.
Yeah. So anyway, I plan on just binging it, so hopefully I can get into the newest season in ASAP, because I know, if that's something we might want to talk about or whatever. So
Paul, what do you got for news this week?
See, this week was really, really actually wholesome. There's a couple fun ones here.
All right, wholesome's not good. I lied.
So, the first one is a new poll says that parents are most proud of their children's ability to show empathy and kindness. This comes out of the Good News Network.
I agree with that.
Well, yeah, that seems.
The research was actually like an official study.
Okay, Mike.
Commissioned as part of the launch of the inaugural Thomas and Friends International Friendship Day, which is really fun to me because, like, why an International Friendship Day? Anyway, the researchers highlighted the importance of parents put on ensuring their children build great relationships at an early age because it teaches the children so many things. So it's just kind of a fun little poll.
I mean, yeah, that's like stating the bleeding obvious, to be honest, but I guess it needs to be said in 2022.
Yeah,
I guess you're right.
But yeah, I mean, like, when your kid
don't dump your kid into a Call of Duty lobby,
or make them watch Love, Death, and Robots,
or that.
When your kid does that thing that you're just like, oh, that's so wonderful, you're such a good person. Yeah, it does really trigger that, and you should be fostering it and rewarding it. And
you would think as a parent,
to be good,
right? As a parent, it probably is a more proud moment when your kid stands by somebody getting picked on, or is the nice kid, and maybe the kid that's not in like the cool group or whatever it is. Like, yeah, you're proud of your offspring for that, right?
I would hope so.
No,
it's the "I would hope so" statement right there. So, number 2. Indiana students have attempted the world record game of Duck Duck Goose with over 2,000 students from 3 Indiana high schools. Yep. So they attempted the Guinness World Record, and they succeeded, apparently. So
is that because there's nothing else to do there?
I have no idea, but the game had to last at least 16 minutes to conform with rules set by Guinness World Records. But they're still awaiting official word. The previous record was set in 2011 by the Logan Rogersville School District in Missouri with 2,135 people.
Okay, Missouri, Indiana. I see a trend.
Yeah, there's a nice little trend here.
Yeah, it's
sorry.
I feel like a game of Duck Duck Goose with 2,000 people would take much longer than 16 minutes. Am I crazy?
It would take 5 minutes just to fucking make it a quarter of the way around.
Right, and are you even going to go all the way around? You'd be saying duck, duck 2,000 times.
By the time you say goose, you're exhausted. You can't even run.
Yeah, how the hell are you going to run?
See, it's like a great question because I don't know if you have to make a whole lap though. Like, do you have to make a whole lap?
Yeah, you got to make a lap around to
sit.
You want to sit in the empty seat.
Right, but I'm saying, oh yeah, good lord.
He's talking about
when was the last time you played Duck Duck Goose, bro?
No, because I've had Duck Duck Goose where people decided to do the thing where they push somebody out of the way. So I just don't know. I just don't know what the rules are for the Guinness World Record book.
I was going to say the Guinness World Records is not going to allow you to cheat and push people out of the way for Duck Duck Goose. So you're going to have to do Goose and then do your lap. That's what Mike's talking about.
BDG in its truest form.
Unfortunately, there are no pictures of the attempt on the webpage, but we know it was over 2,200 people.
Do you remember playing that? Do you remember playing that and you're just waiting and like your palms are sweaty and you're like ready to jump up on your knees? You're like, all right.
The fast kid never gets chosen.
Oh no, if you're too fast, they're not going to pick you. They always go for whoever they knew they could, not get beat by.
Unless you're trying to impress a girl, and then you do pick the fast kid, you beat him.
I mean,
it depends on what kind of challenge you're looking for.
I was going to say it's more like the bear in the wilderness challenge. You just got to be faster than the guy next to you.
Yep.
So, okay, and the last piece here.
It's fear that gives men wings, Paul.
I thought it was Red Bull, Kevin.
No, it's fear. Go play Max Payne.
So the final one is actually a resurgent event. The pool noodle fight over the name of Josh for the second year in a row has attracted hundreds of people. I don't know if anybody else knows the story, but last year or the year before, an event where a bunch of Joshes got together to fight over who was the actual true Josh. I think it happened just like after the Area 51 event. Anyway, sent out a tweet challenging anyone who shared his name to fight over it. So now it's an actual real event every single year where hundreds of Joshes actually get together and fight with pool noodles to see who wins.
So it's a pool noodle Highlanders for Josh.
Yes.
How does one eliminate an individual in pool noodles?
I wish I knew that because it doesn't really tell you. It just says that they all came
I know
to
this
hang
is
out.
not the right answer, Mike, but what I'm imagining is a American Gladiators with like a thin platform.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
just whack and try and knock other Joshes into the water. That's what I'm imagining. I know it's completely wrong, but that's where my head is there.
I don't know why I'm envisioning like LARPers and just like, you don't have an arm and you don't have a leg.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!
Exactly.
So, to read a little bit of the article here, several of the competitors this year donned costumes, including masks, animal suits, and football helmets before
LARPing.
heading out
Nailed
to
it.
Poling Lake Park. But that wasn't enough to apparently dethrone 5-year-old Josh Vincent Jr., who defended his title as the number one Josh. The event
We're
raised...
beating up children now over names?
It's like picking Oddjob in GoldenEye. You have trouble hitting him because he's down there and he just cracks you in the knees and the balls and shit. Yeah, no. Good for him.
Little bastard.
The event raised nearly $21,000 for the Children's Hospital and Medical Research
I
Center
didn't
for
know it was a
Omaha.
charity event.
Yep.
Nice.
And the owners of the Josh Cellars
Beating
wine
up
label
kids for kids.
The owners of the Josh Cellars wine label pledged to match that amount with a donation of their own to the hospital as well.
What did you do? We beat up some kids with pool noodles to raise money for sick kids.
For kids.
So
So what you're saying is at GCX we are going to have like a little ball pit and we're gonna pit kids against kids, right?
No.
Oh, damn.
No, there will be no ball pits at GCX. That sounds like a germ nightmare that I am not willing to take on.
That's how we survive McDonald's pool pits.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. Did you ever see the copy pasta about how there's a murder basement at the bottom of the McDonald's ball pit?
No.
I've never seen that
it's
copy
great.
pasta.
Google it. Yeah, it's not copy pasta, the creepy pasta, not copy pasta.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
go Google it. It's great. Yeah, there's apparently a murder dungeon down there that like eats and kills children. Sick. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for episode 34 of the Old Fashioned Podcast. You can check out Clintus everywhere at Clintus. Google Clintus, Twitch, YouTube, you name it, it's there. It was the other side.
It was the other
Clintus,
side,
by the
Clintus,
way.
yeah.
Because on
Other
the
side.
Old Fashioned,
Oh, yeah, you're
on
right. You're right.
Ping, it's that, but on Old Fashioned, yeah, there you go.
I see it now.
You can check out Mike at Old Fashioned Pod because that's the only place you can check out Mike, and that's yeah. If you
I
wanna
mean,
send Mike a
it
message.
shows his name, but it's private, so don't go there.
Yeah.
So just send him you can send a DM to Old Fashioned Pod if you wanted to say something to Mike, like what
You could
pre-workout do you
request me and I could check you out and see if it's cool.
use? If he likes you.
Oh God, did you tell Mike about the story about the rocker guy, Kevin?
Oh yeah.
No.
From yesterday?
Wait.
No,
Pete?
different.
Yesterday?
Oh yeah, no, Mike
Oh, okay,
was in
okay,
that
okay,
conversation.
okay.
But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah,
can't
yeah.
talk about that, Paul.
No,
for
I wasn't
many
going to. I was
reasons.
just wondering. Don't worry.
Yes.
You're
All
trying to
about
find Mike
you.
on the GCX floor and give him a crisp high five.
Oh, I'm down
I'm-
for high fives.
I'm not high-fiving anyone this year. All elbows. That's a lie. I'll high-five you, Clintus. But everyone else is
Yeah.
elbows. This is the greatest excuse I've ever had to not touch people. Are you kidding me? My
True.
time has come.
True.
So excited. But yeah, head over to gcxevent.com/tickets. Come join us in Orlando in about 2.5 weeks. Make sure you're ready for the next Kings Coast Coffee cold brew drop at kingscoastcoffee.com. And I'm Kevin. You can talk to me at Kevin X Vision on Twitter, KMagic101 on Instagram, and raredrop.co for all of the things that I am working on. We hope you have a great week. We'll probably be talking some Star Wars next week after all the announcements for Celebration.
No episode next week
oh.
because I'm running marathon.
Yeah, so we will see you. Let's see. We got a few weeks before we're going to see you because we're going to take a little break. So next week is no episode. The week after that is GCX.
Maybe the
There's a
23rd
chance.
at the latest.
Yeah, because we have to record Star Wars and Scotch that week, Paul. So I was going to say maybe we'll do it that week.
I'm
So
fine
maybe
doing
we'll
it.
come back that week. I'll talk to Paul. Maybe we could do back to back or something. And then, yeah, we will 100% be back the week of the 20th. So you'll get your episode on the 24th. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. I almost said, may the force be with you, which is what we say at the end of Star Wars and Scotch, but that's not this show. I'm going to do that in a little while. You all have a good one. Talk to you later.
Later.